While we may be shocked to see the news about the financial problems some of the country's biggest retailers are facing this year, many brands are silently disappearing from the U.S. retail industry without catching the attention of the media. They're closing a smaller number of locations at a time, not to raise any red flags. However, these chains have actually been significantly reducing their store counts over the past year, leaving a massive hole in the market. Low-income communities are losing their local pharmacies, their coffee shops, and grocery stores. At the same time, big cities are witnessing what experts call the retail exodus, a new trend in which retailers leave highly populated areas where theft is becoming rampant. The scenario is changing very rapidly, and today we investigate why so many stores are ceasing to exist and which brands are shrinking in size right under our noses. Without further ado, here are the 15 biggest retail chains disappearing before our eyes. 1. CVS. CVS revealed it'll close 900 stores by the end of 2024, the Daily Mail reported. About 300 CVS stores are being closed in 2023 as the retailer adjusts to post-pandemic demographics and quit areas where inventory losses due to shrink are going up. The drugstore chain said it's undergoing a new retail footprint strategy, and that is trying to implement more tech in its operations. CVS has been open about the impact of shoplifting on its bottom line, estimating hundreds of millions in losses in the current fiscal year. The closings are sparking debates about pharmacy deserts as more retailers leave low-income communities. Millions of households may lose their local drugstore, but the retail giant said the profit losses due to theft gave it no choice. 2. Christopher & Banks. It's finally the end of the line for Christopher & Banks. Founded in 1956 as Brown's Fashions, the women's apparel retailer has gone bankrupt and said it planned to close nearly all of its brick-and-mortar stores. 2 years after the court proceeding, Christopher & Banks' retail footprint shrank from 451 stores in January 2021 to just 58 stores now. That means 393 locations have disappeared from U.S. streets in the past couple of years. Most of the stores that remained open were located in shopping malls, which haven't seen foot traffic recovering to pre-pandemic levels yet, and some industry experts say that may never happen. With U.S. consumers increasingly turning to online stores for shopping, mall-based retailers are at risk of going extinct. That's the case with Christopher & Banks. The few locations still in operation are set to close down by the end of 2023. 3. Starbucks. Over 400 Starbucks stores have been shuttered in the U.S., according to the U.S. Sun. The good news is that the company opened new locations too in a smaller, more cost-efficient format. Still, the closings have left millions of customers across many cities without their local coffee shop. In fact, on October 22nd, the coffee house chain closed 7 stores in San Francisco, and it signaled that it may leave the area altogether if the city's theft problem continues to escalate. The reasons behind the large number of closings are many. On top of rising shoplifting, the company has been accused of union busting after deciding to shutter 150 stores where unionized workers demanded better pay and working conditions and went on strike during the spring. Moreover, Starbucks also eliminated underperforming stores from its system and closed older locations where it would be too expensive to do renovations. 4. Kroger. About 400 Kroger stores are about to disappear as the grocery retailer merges with supermarket giant Albertsons. Due to antitrust regulations, both companies are being requested to reduce their retail footprint so that the procedure can be approved in court. Best Life points out that stores located in areas with high crime rates or with poor financial results are likely to be on the chopping block. The retailer expects to sell at least a share of the stores to other grocers in an attempt to raise capital, but regulators have not greenlit the area yet. Despite the imminent shutdowns, together Kroger and Albertsons operate more than 5,000 supermarkets in the U.S., and they could snap up to 27% of the U.S. grocery market if the merger is passed. 5. David's Bridal. In the coming months, U.S. brides-to-be will likely lose access to over 150 David's Bridal stores. The wedding and formal wear retailer has gone bankrupt during the summer, and its new owner plans to keep only 195 locations in operation. Almost 10,000 layoffs already happened in recent months, and even more jobs are about to be cut as parent company Sion Investment Corp initiates the chain's debt restructuring process. The June filing was the second time David's Bridal entered the bankruptcy court. In 2018, it filed for the first time amid slowing sales and profitability concerns. With so many indie brands attracting more millennial and Generation Z shoppers, some industry analysts noted that the acquisition was a second chance for the retailer to rethink its business and make things right. 6. Gap. The problems faced by Gap became a topic of national discussion in the past few years as the brand decided to drastically reduce its brick-and-mortar footprint and to focus on online operations. The apparel chain is quitting U.S. malls, where rents are expensive and sales are dropping. The company's CEO, Richard Dixon, said that Gap would shutter 350 locations by the end of this year. We were overly reliant on low-productivity, high-rent stores, he said. We will be shrinking our North American footprint and getting out of mall-based locations, and by the end of 2023, we will have reduced our store fleet by 35%. The goal is to create a new operating model in a cost-effective way, and all of the changes will help us become a digitally led brand. Hundreds of shutdowns already happened, and the final 50 stores are about to go dark in the coming weeks. 7. Justice. When Ascena Retail Group filed for bankruptcy last summer, many brands it operated, such as Ann Taylor, Loft, Lane Bryant, and Lou & Gray, went down with it. However, several chains were purchased by big operators after the filing, but teen apparel retailer Justice was one of the few brands that weren't saved by a new buyer. Back then, the group said it would shutter 600 of its 826 Justice stores across the U.S. At the last minute, Blue Star Alliance LLC made a bid on the brand and paid $90 million to own the business. With 220 locations left, Blue Star rapidly realized that Justice was facing serious cash flow issues and that revenue growth had been negative for years. Profitability issues seemed too big to overcome, and Justice's store count fell to just 103. But by early 2024, there will be 0 locations open as Blue Star completes the liquidation process of the brand. 8. Banana Republic. Gap's sister chain, Banana Republic, is following the same trend and dramatically slimming down its brick-and-mortar presence. After closing 130 locations from 2020 to December 2022 to focus on online sales, the apparel brand is trimming its store count again in preparation for the economic turmoil ahead. This month, the retailer announced it will exit the San Francisco market and close dozens of other underperforming locations. According to the Daily Mail, about 35 to 50 stores are about to be eliminated as its parent company invests more money in well-performing brands, including Old Navy and Athleta. 9. Bath & Body Works. Earlier this month, Bath & Body Works confirmed 50 more store closings after shuttering the same amount of locations back in May. These closures, however, are strategic as the company cuts costs to pay its debt of approximately $600 million that's coming due. Unlike other retailers in this list, Bath & Body Works has actually reported strong financial results over the past few quarters, and the decision wasn't a result of deteriorating performance. Still, the Body Shop chain has been steadily shrinking its store count in the US and Canada in recent years, and it's getting more difficult to find Bath & Body Works stores in malls. 10. Macy's. In 2020, Macy's announced that it would eliminate 125 struggling stores from its operations, and according to CEO Jeff Gennette, the last 45 closings have started in the second half of 2023. To conclude its liquidation process and focus on a new digital shopping area, the department store chain is also opting for smaller stores outside big malls that the executive said will provide a more pleasing experience to customers. The retailer's financial health has significantly deteriorated since the pandemic. That's why, to ensure the survival of the brand, Gennette says Macy's will have to adapt to an evolving market and new consumer preferences. 11. Disney. Disney is not just closing physical stores, but park attractions, popular rides, as well as some of its resorts and hotels this year. The company has been experiencing a management crisis in recent years, with its shares losing more than 40% of their value, revenues getting smaller quarter after quarter, and both its brick-and-mortar and online business slowing down in 2023. Fewer people visited Disney stores and parks this year, and at the same time, millions of fans canceled their Disney Plus subscriptions after the mega corporation hiked prices again. About 27 stores were shuttered in the past 10 months, while 71 closings happened since 2020. Additionally, both Walt Disney World Resort and Disneyland Resort in Florida have been closed in recent months with no reopening date. And in September, the entertainment giant confirmed that the Skyliner will be closing very soon in Walt Disney World. The one-year-old Star Wars hotel has also closed its doors for good, with customers saying they could not afford the price point. Ultimately, the shutdowns are a reflection of much deeper issues gripping the company, and now shareholders seem very worried about Disney's future amid the recession. 12. Party City. At this point, you probably heard about the turbulent Party City bankruptcy. In financial trouble since the pandemic, the party retailer almost met its fate earlier this year when complications emerged during its bankruptcy proceeding. Now the company is renegotiating its debt with lenders and shutting down more stores after multiple waves of closings during the past 12 months. About 22 stores across 6 states are expected to go out of business this winter, Business Insider reports. Well, retailer Party City announced 30 closures a few months ago, but 8 locations have already ceased operations since the announcement. 13. NORDSTROM. Considered one of the nation's leading fashion retailers, offering a range of high-end clothing, shoes, and accessories for men, women, and kids, NORDSTROM used to be a small Seattle shoe shop when it was founded in 1901. In recent months, the brand made the headlines after hundreds of cases of organized retail theft at its stores started to be reported. The financial losses faced by the company were so deep that the executives decided it was time to get out of some areas where perpetrators were putting workers and customers at risk. According to Insider, NORDSTROM is closing 15 stores, while more than 2,500 jobs will be cut in an attempt to save funds. 14. Staples. 17 Staples stores have closed since August, and more are about to go dark on November 17th, the company said. Once again, theft was mentioned as the main reason for the shutdowns, but analysts argue that the office retailer has been silently reducing the number of stores it operates since 2017, In fact, over the past 6 years, nearly 300 staple stores have disappeared from the U.S. as the retailer deals with rising competition and cash flow problems. In the past 8 quarters, the chain eliminated a few dozen stores without grabbing much attention from the media at all. Although there are about 1,000 staple stores across the United States, the trend seems to be intensifying year after year. 15. MORPHE. Cosmetics retailer MORPHE has closed its last store in the United States. In January, the brand made the decision to leave the U.S. market after several years of experiencing a slowdown in revenue growth and sales volume. Adding to the company's doom, controversy surrounding social media influencers led some customers to boycott the brand. Despite the closings, this is not the end for MORPHE. The store chain continues to operate in dozens of countries and online. You know, it's getting increasingly harder to manage a retail business in America. Businesses aren't being able to keep up with the constant changes in consumer behavior. They're also failing to accurately predict demand, and financially they're hurting due to tighter credit conditions amid a slower spending environment. It's safe to say that we will hear about bankruptcies and shutdowns far more frequently in the months ahead. Many CEOs are hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst, as the threat of recession becomes bigger. And, as well as the CEOs, so should you. Thank you for watching.